Hi, it's Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another record to play for you. Today record The Dragon Named Blue from 1978. So let's get started.
A dragon named Blue. Wilbur Clark was walking home from school one day when he heard someone yell,
"Hey, wait for me!"
Wilbur eagerly turned around, hoping to see Susie Snurling, his best friend. Instead, he saw a small blue dragon running toward him as fast as its fat blue legs and pink-clawed feet could carry it. The dragon's nails went clickety-click along the sidewalk. Wilbur walked a bit faster and didn't look at the little fellow who panted and scampered at his side.
"Hey, why didn't you wait for me?"
The dragon asked.
My mother told me never to talk to strangers.
Replied Wilbur,
That is, when I'm all alone.
and he walked on even faster.
"Oh, but I'm not a stranger. I'm an animal. You can talk to me."
Wilbur stopped walking. He looked into the dragon's bright yellow eyes and said,
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't wait for you, Mr. Dragon Animal, sir.
"Please don't call me sir. Call me Blue. And please take me home with you. I want to be your pet."
I'm sorry. That's impossible.
"Why?
wailed the dragon, whose name was Blue.
Why?
Because dogs are pets. Cats are pets, even fish, birds, rabbits, and white mice are pets. But nobody has a dragon for a pet. Not even my friend Susie Snurling, who has all the animals I mentioned, and 3 turtles, too. No, it's impossible.
Wilbur's words made the dragon look very sad and think very hard.
I know.
He finally said.
Let's pretend I'm a dog."
He went down on all 4 feet, wagged his heavy tail, and said,
"What?"
Wilbur was not impressed.
I can woof better than that.
"But you can't wag your tail,"
Replied the dragon, and he rolled on the ground, laughing at his own joke. By this time, they were in front of Wilbur's house.
I don't think my mother will let me have a dragon for a pet.
Wilbur said wistfully. He was beginning to enjoy the dragon's company.
"Well, maybe she'll think I'm a dog."
And before Wilbur could reply that his mother was a very smart woman and had seen a dog or 2 in her day, Blue gave another woof, which sounded more like a sneeze than any sound a dog would make, and he trotted up to Wilbur's front door, opened it, and went inside as though he had lived there all his life. Wilbur had no choice but to follow. Wilbur's mother was in the kitchen, cooking up a pot of something that smelled very good. Wilbur was too upset to notice the good smell.
Mommy, look at the nice doggie who followed me home from school and who wants to be my pet.
Wilbur's mother looked at Blue. Blue looked back at her, wagged his tail, knocking over a kitchen chair, and went,
"Woof,
Woof?
woof."
I can go woof better than that.
Blue put his tail between his legs and hung his scaly head.
Son,
Said Wilbur's mother, whose name was Dr. Edna Clark.
son, this is a small blue dragon who has followed you home from school. This is not a dog, and if the small blue dragon thinks he is a dog, then he is a crazy small blue dragon.
Dr. Clark's words made Blue angry. He stood upright and said,
"Madam, I know what I am. I'm proud to be a small blue dragon. I just thought you might strongly prefer dogs to dragons."
Dr. Clark smiled.
No, actually, I like small blue dragons better than dogs. You can stay if Mr. Clark says it's all right, too. I just hope you won't breathe fire and smoke indoors. It's not safe.
"I gave up smoking long ago. It hurt my throat and made me feel bad. And nobody liked the smell. I breathe fog now instead. Would you like to see?"
Not waiting for a reply, he popped up his little chest and filled the kitchen with fog.
Mama!
Exclaimed Dr. Clark as she made her way through the white, damp air surrounding her and opened the window so she could see the pot of something. The pot was there, but Wilbur and Blue were already upstairs in Wilbur's room. Blue thought it was quite a nice room. He curled up on a chair and fell fast asleep while Wilbur did his homework. When Blue woke up, Wilbur was gone, so he washed his paws and face and went downstairs. Wilbur was nowhere in sight. Mr. Clark, however, was sitting in the living room, reading the evening paper. Blue tiptoed up to him and removed his shoes so carefully that Mr. Clark didn't even notice. Then he tiptoed upstairs with the shoes and returned with a pair of slippers. These he took over to Mr. Clark and tapped him gently on the knee with them. Mr. Clark looked at his feet. He looked at Blue, and he looked back at his feet.
Thank you. Are you the little surprise my wife said I was going to have before dinner?
Asked Mr. Clark.
I believe so.
Honey, how much did this small blue dragon cost us?
Oh, he didn't cost us anything, dear.
Well,
He followed Wilbur home from school today.
come now, I wasn't born yesterday. Small blue dragons do not follow children home from school, and certainly not a child of mine. Tell me how much he cost her. Back he goes.
Dr. Clark sighed and said nothing. She had a policy of never fighting before dinner, even though she usually won. Blue thought fast.
Oh, I was a bargain, Mr. Clark. I really didn't cost much at all, but I'm not returnable. Are your slippers comfortable?
Yes, replied Mr. Clark, and he gave a contented sigh. Blue went outside while the family ate their dinner.
Wilbur, you may keep Blue if the neighbors don't object.
Where is my little shoe changer, anyway?
Blue's outside. He's eating the grass on the front lawn. He's eating a lot of grass.
What? Mr. Clark stared. Blue had already trimmed half the lawn, and he still looked hungry. I was wondering what he eats. Well, no harm in eating grass, I guess. Just then, a resounding knock, knock, knock sounded at their front door. Mr. Clark answered it. It was the neighbors. Come in, Mr. Clark said heartily, trying to hide his true feelings. The neighbors walked slowly into the living room. Have a seat, said Mr. Clark. He always repeated himself when he was nervous. They sat silently for a moment, looking shy but determined. Finally, Mr. Carruthers, who was a fireman, cleared his throat and spoke.
Is that your small blue dragon out on the front lawn?
Yes, it is.
He says his name is Blue.
Yes, as far as I know, his name is Blue.
Hungry little fellow, isn't he?
Yes, I suppose.
After he eats the grass on your front lawn, I suppose he's going to eat the grass in your backyard.
Yes, I guess he is.
Well, then what's he going to eat?
I don't know,
Well,
said another neighbor, a pleasant fat lady who owned 3 pleasant fat cats.
we were thinking that he might take an interest in the grass on our lawn.
Oh, no, said Mr. Clark in a horrified voice. No small blue dragon of mine will ever touch one blade of grass on a neighbor's lawn. If I have anything to say about it, I'll tell him if he takes one nibble from your lawn. Out he goes.
I'm afraid you don't understand, Mr. Clark. We would like it if your small blue dragon, who goes by the name of Blue, ate the grass on our lawns. Then we wouldn't have to mow them. And we think he would like it, too.
Really? Said all the Clarks at once.
Really?
Replied the neighbors. But that's wonderful. Then there's no more problems. Just then they heard a terrible commotion outside. Everyone rushed out to see what was the matter. And there they saw Mr. Artemus Snurling, who lived across the street. He was yelling at Blue and stamping his feet. Behind him stood his granddaughter, Susie, who lived with him since her parents had died some years back. The little girl was pulling at her grandfather's coattail, begging him to stop shouting at Blue. Mr. Clark put a protective arm around Blue and said, Snurling, what's the problem?
This here critter is going to put me out of business, eating what he does. I sell lawnmowers in my store. I got 30 of them in stock. And who around here is going to buy one now with this thing chomping his way around the block, eh?
I see your point,
Mr. Carruthers said.
but you sell many other items in your store and do a good business. Surely...
Snurling interrupted.
Surely what? I know. You think because I'm rich and own the town bank and the 2 gas stations and the nursery and 12 farms and things you don't even know about, but I don't want to make any more money. Hogwash! I've got my little granddaughter here to think of, and I want to give her everything I can now and leave her a bundle of money when I go.
And the bigger the bundle, the better. Be that as it may, said Mr. Clark, Blue still has a right to eat. And we have a right to have him eat our loans, Carruthers added. I can hire lawyers to prove different, Snurling said.
Lawyers cost money.
Dr. Clark said. He'll cost me more, Snurling replied, pointing at Blue. I sell hedge clippers in my store. Critter, you eat hedges too?
Oh, once in a while for dessert.
Blue said.
Like you eat Jello.
Don't eat Jello, Snurling snarled. Silly, trembling stuff.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir, me, you blue mess. Gonna run you out of town before you eat me into bankruptcy.
Grandpa, please.
Susie said.
Let him be. I don't care if my bundle's only as big as a pea. To tell you the truth, I don't care about my bundle at all. Especially if it means that a small blue dragon can't eat well in this town.
Don't be silly, child, Snurling said. Money's everything.
No, it's not, Grandpa. Wilbur would rather have Blue than a ton of money. Wouldn't you, Wilbur?
Hush, child. Don't want you talking to this boy anymore. No use associating with folks who keep dragons and such.
But, Grandpa, Wilbur's my best friend.
I'll buy you another friend. A new model. Now, into the house with you, child. Looks like it's gonna rain. With one despairing look at Wilbur, she did as she was told. As for the rest of you, Snurling began, and he started threatening. He threatened to have his bank foreclose the mortgage on the pleasant fat lady's house.
Oh, no.
He threatened to have Carruthers fired from his job as fire chief. What? He started to threaten Dr. Clark.
Now, listen to
His
me.
speech was cut short by the sound of thunder and a cloudburst of rain. Bolts of lightning blazed through the sky. The storm passed overhead quickly, and the rain stopped. Wilbur looked across the street at the Snurling mansion. Flames were licking the roof where lightning had struck. Fire! Wilbur yelled. Carruthers ran to call the firehouse, and the neighbors ran for their garden hoses. I'm not worried, Snurling cackled. It's insured for twice what it's worth. But Susie's in there. Oh, no, my baby! Snurling howled, and he ran across the street into his house. Blue and Wilbur raced after him. Up the stairs they ran. A sheet of flames roared between them and Susie's bedroom, but they could hear her voice.
Help! Grandpa, help! I can't get my door open.
Snurling braced himself to run through the flames. Susie was all he had, all he cared for. Even if he died attempting to save her, he'd have to try.
Wait.
Cried Blue, and he puffed up his chest and blew a huge cloud of damp fog into the flames. He puffed his chest and blew some more, and the flames died down enough for them to pass. Snurling ran down the hall and kicked at his granddaughter's door with all the strength left in his old legs. It wouldn't budge. Then Blue swung his massive tail against it, and it broke open. Wilbur shot in and found Susie in the smoke-filled room. He pulled her out the door. Coughing and choking, they ran down the stairs and out of the house onto the street.
Wilbur, are you all right?
Dr. Clark asked, grabbing and hugging him tightly. Wilbur, Mr. Clark said shakily, you know you're not allowed in burning houses, boy. I'm not sure Blue's a good influence. Now leave this boy alone, Snurling said. He's a fine boy. I'm proud he's Susie's friend. The Clarks looked at the old man. They couldn't believe their ears. And you be kind to this blue thing here. Nice thing. Nice blue thing, he muttered, awkwardly petting the dragon. Carruthers joined the group. Doors out. You only left the upstairs part of the house. Thank you much, Snurling said. You all did a fine job. But you ought to have this little blue critter as mascot on your fire truck. Better than some fool spotted dog. Carruthers laughed.
Thought you didn't like dragons.
Nonsense, Snurling said. Always liked dragons. Leastways, all that I've known. And this one, why, he breathes fog. Real London fog. Better than what comes from those new-fangled machines.
Then it's okay if he stays, Grandpa?
Why, I'd like to see anyone try to make him leave. Anybody get this blue critter trouble will have to deal with the likes of me, Artemis P. Snurling. So Blue stayed on with the Clarks. He kept the neighborhood neat, made fog for the fire department whenever they needed it, helped Wilbur and Susie with their homework, and went to bed promptly at 9
as Wilbur did. And oftentimes, when he arose early and went out to the front porch to fetch the morning paper, he would find a pile of dandelion greens or strawberry leaves, fresh picked for his breakfast. These he would eat with relish, knowing that they came from Artemus P. Snurling, a proud, shy old man, trying to say thank you to a small blue dragon.
So, that was A Dragon Named Blue for 1978. So if you like, subscribe, share, and comment, have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.